Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today I'm bringing you another Android Weekly and Android Q&A all wrapped into one, and this is all live. So if you do have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below, or you can email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail. If you ever have any questions, just email me. Make sure you label it question because I get a lot of emails, and just to streamline it and be fair to those of you who are watching this channel at this time, I'm going to cater it towards more of the ones that do it right. So if you say question and do it, I will do my best to answer it on the Q&A section. I will also, of course, always answer questions live for those who ask it. With further ado, let's get right into the news, and then we'll get to the Q&A part. So first big thing is Samsung Unpack 5, May 24th, February, in Barcelona at 20 CET, which I believe is going to be around what time? I think it's 11 a.m. Pacific time and 2 p.m. I believe so, but it's going to be the 24th. It says Unpacked 5, so you can pretty much bet that, yes, this is going to be the Galaxy S5. At least that's what we all believe, which, again, makes sense, and it makes my first prediction look like it's going to be right. I predicted that the S5 would launch in March, and it looks like this will do so. So really nice on that aspect that it looks like the first one is going to be correct, and I expect to hear from HTC to also launch at the end of March. So my second prediction can be correct. Alright, along with that, Samsung did recently announce their new Pro tablets. I'm going to be doing a separate video on this, but I want you guys to let me know which tablets are you most excited about of these Pros. So we have an 8.4-inch Pro series, we have a 10.1-inch, and we have a 12.2-inch. I'm leaning towards getting the 8. I'm definitely getting the 8.4-inch actually, and I'm leaning towards the 12.2-inch over the 10.1-inch. Leave a comment if you feel that more so, but I'll probably do another video just on that because I'm really curious which one you guys want me to review more. But on that topic, the 12.2 seems like it's going to both AT&T and Verizon. We've seen a leak image on EV Links for Verizon Note Pro 12.2 with the Verizon logo on it, so it looks like it will be coming to Verizon. And it just passed through FCC on AT&T's LTE capable bands. So it looks like we might see this as well for AT&T, and the at least two carriers will be carrying this tablet. I, for one, really am excited about it, and it has to deal with a lot of the Q&A that I have for later on today, because some people have been asking about Android versus Surface and things like that, so we'll get into that later. HTC has said they solved the smartwatch battery issue, and they do plan to launch a wearable later on this year. This is really curious because, I'm curious to what they did to solve the battery issue. I mean, you can do like a stacked battery like the LG technology has been for their new Flex phone, which would be interesting if they're doing that. But it's really kind of curious to see what they're going to do. I mean, I like the Qualcomm's talk, colored screen, but it's still kind of like e-ink, so it makes it last longer. I'm really curious about that, but I mean, I'll have to tell you, I mean, I recently revisited the Pebble, and I do like my screen color. I like having an LED screen. I do want longer battery life on my Gear, but maybe we'll see that with the Gear 2 or something. To make it longer, and we'll see if HTC can even do one better. I'm curious if HTC will make it available for all manufacturers. That's one thing that is definitely I'm interested in. Or will they just make it on their own, or will they make it for all manufacturers? I'm really curious. You know, Sony went the all manufacturers route. Samsung made it so, well, it's arguable whether you say that it's their fault that it's only them, because at the same time, you have to have the Samsung API on your phone, and most manufacturers don't want that on there. So it's arguable whose fault it was. But bigger news from HTC by far is the fact that it's an unfortunate and it's fortunate for them. So they have settled and come to a license agreement for with Nokia. If you haven't heard, Nokia and HTC have been going to trial a couple of times, and Nokia has been beating HTC time and time again. So now, basically, that Nokia is allowed to not only use HTC's patents, but HTC is allowed to use Nokia's patents. This was really bad because Nokia had kept HTC out of a couple of countries and got them banned. So it's definitely not something to take lightly. It was definitely something interesting to see HTC kind of suffer through that, especially because they did this last year with, or sorry, now 2 years ago with the HTC One X with Apple, and now HTC pays Apple per phone sold. And I mean, although we don't have details of the Nokia one, I assume HTC has to pay Nokia per phone sold because Nokia is winning this patent battle. Unless there was more benefit in it for them just to use HTC's, maybe boom sound technology, I feel that there's still more that they would benefit from it. LG is going to announce their G Pro 2 on February 13th, and this is really interesting. So the reason they're doing this, or I mean, at least the reason I believe they're doing this, is obvious. The S5 is going to be announced the 24th, and if they announce if they announce this LG Pro 2 at MWC, no one is going to care. Plain and simple. No one's going to care about LG if they announce this phone at MWC. So what they're doing then is they're going to announce it before the S5 to try to gain some traction, try to gain some following to it. Here's my thing. Why are you releasing this phone? And the reason why I say that, in all honesty, is because we basically have the LG Flex, which is probably going to be the same screen size as the G Pro 2, or maybe the G Pro 2 might be 2 inches, 3 inches smaller, but it's going to be pretty much the same size. Besides the 1080p screen on the G Pro 2, what is really the difference? Why should I get this instead of the Curve, or why should I get the Curve instead of this? If this goes for, say, $100 less on contract, guess what? I'm going to buy this over the Curve. If this goes for $200 less outright, guess what? I'm going to buy this over the Curve. So why are they doing this to themselves? It doesn't really make sense. If they were making like a mid-range like Samsung had did with the Note and the Mega, that makes more sense. Make like a Pro Lite or something like that. Make an inexpensive one to really go that. And I believe they actually had something like that. Now that I think about it, the Pro, I think it was called the Pro Lite or something like that they had somewhere else. But this makes more sense than kind of you're going with two high-end ones, and it kind of makes me think that LG doesn't know how to position their phone. And this is problematic, of course, because you need to know how to position your own phone, your own product, or else you're just kind of battling against yourself, which obviously isn't good for anyone in LG. So definitely something that I think needs to be kind of taken care of. So yeah, thank you in the comment section down below. I am getting comments, so yeah, looking forward to the S5. I am too. I can't wait to play with it. And the last bit of news we're going to go over today is Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak says Apple should do Android. I think this would be hilarious if Apple would do this, and it would definitely prove that it's a post-Steve Jobs era. Will Apple do this? Absolutely not. This would be like a last-ditch effort if Apple would do this. I mean, you could maybe picture it 5 years from now if Apple continues to go on a down slant, especially as look, as Samsung would get bigger, if Samsung keeps getting bigger this year is a defining year. 2014 is a defining year. 2013 showed that Samsung really kind of took over the industry. I mean, with their S3 they did an impact, but with the S4 and Note 3 they really made a huge impact, and it definitely stood out. I mean, you take a look at Samsung sales; they beat out everyone. Like if you could add up Apple, Lenovo, HTC, and LG, and I think they barely match Samsung, and that's depending on the quarter. And that that was Q4, which Samsung, according to them, underperformed. So it's definitely interesting. Now the thing about Steve Wozniak is, if you don't know who Steve Wozniak, by the way, is, he's the co-creator of Apple. He was the genius behind it, and he was the techie. Steve Jobs was the visionary. Steve Wozniak also said, he's not impressed by Samsung. He's not impressed by like their features and all that kind of stuff and their quality and everything like that. So it's really something that he's not impressed by it. So it's really interesting to see his opinion kind of like on the current market and on two different companies, Apple and Samsung, and what will come out of it. Now, Steve Wozniak buys every single phone, so you can. He's pretty kind of fair all around. He basically loves buying Windows phones. He loves buying Android phones, and he likes buying Apple phones, of course, iPhones, of course. So it's really kind of interesting to see where he goes by and everything like that. Hey, SSJ 4 Goku. 8,000. Why not over 9,000? All right. So again, if you are just joining us, leave your comments or questions in the comment section down below, and I will get to them. And until then, we're going to go on some questions that people have asked me over the week. Again, if you want me to answer questions and you're not on the live chat and you're watching it after, email me right down below, or right down here, at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com. And I will answer those questions as best I can. Email me, say question, and then ask your question, but leave question as a subject line. All right. Swiss Eddie asks, he has an Asus monitor, and he wants to connect his tablet to his Asus monitor. So his tablet is the Samsung Galaxy Note edition, 2014 edition, and he said that this monitor is supposed to have MHL 2.0 support. And to your question, Eddie, one of the things is, yes, Samsung Note 10.1 edition 2014, it's a mouthful, does have 2.0 support. So one thing I want to make clear, just so that you know, 2.0, the difference between MHL 1.0 and 2.0 is that 1.0, you have to have a supporting power. So I actually have it right here. This is the third time I think someone has asked me an MHL adapter question. It feels like we're getting one every single week. And this is, I think, the third time I pulled this out. So, again, this is an MHL adapter. The one I particularly have is a 2.0 adapter. So the difference between 1.0 and 2.0 is, for 1.0, you have to use power as well. You can't just connect the HDMI and this to the bottom of your phone or tablet, and it works. It doesn't do that. The difference between 2.0 is that it doesn't need it. Actually, in my case, I've been having a lot of issues when I do use power at the same time. Like, it won't work when I use power, and then when I don't use power, it'll work, which is very strange. But the idea behind 2.0 is that you do not need power, that you can plug this in directly to the device and then plug it through HDMI, and it works. So this should do that. So if you're having issues with it, I'm not really sure why it wouldn't work. No, because it is supposed to. This is the 2.0 adapter. This is Samsung's exact 2.0 adapter. I'm not sure if you got a third-party one, but this is how it should work. You just plug it in, plug it through HDMI. Try doing what I just said. Try not using the power, and see if that works. And the Nexus 7 does work with this as well. Actually, no. If I remember correctly, sorry. Well, I know the Nexus 10 did not use it. I know the Nexus 10 used HDMI Mini instead, which I have. So when I travel and I wanted to plug in my Nexus 10 into my TV, I use the Mini HDMI to the full HDMI. But I can't remember for the life of me if the Asus does do it or not. I see your questions. Keep leaving questions, and I will get back to them as soon as I'm done with the questions that were sent in. So keep asking your questions down below. But yeah, as for the MHL 2.0 adapter, it's really good for that purpose, definitely. So it should work. I've used it on that specific tablet, the Note 10.1 2014 edition. I've used it on my Note 3. I've used it on my S4. I've used it on I've used it on a lot of them. I can't think of one device I haven't used it on recently. So yes, that's to answer your question. Kristen McKenzie asked, so I have a ZTE Flash 4G prepaid phone. It's Sprint wireless, supposed to have 4G, and, well, I have 4G symbol, but it keeps disappearing, won't connect. So here's the thing, and this is in all honesty, because I try to never talk about carriers and everything like that. But with Sprint, right now they're going through a very difficult time. You do not their LTE coverage is spotted, and the reason for that is because they're transitioning from their old service of WiMAX to LTE. Here's the thing: you have a WiMAX tower and you have an LTE tower, and the WiMAX tower is not compatible with the LTE tower. It's not like you can just convert it and it's now an LTE tower. You actually have to essentially tear down the WiMAX tower and build the LTE tower. The thing is they're doing this in as soon as they can, but it's permits and legal things of cities, and you have to get all this kind of handling. So picture there's a lot more, but say there's 5 towers in Los Angeles, right? Again, this is not true. Say there's 5 towers in Los Angeles, and this month they got a permit to convert one of them to LTE. Well, then anyone that's getting signal around that LTE, around that area, will then have LTE. But if you immediately drive down, the street a mile or so, you're connected to the other tower. Guess what? You don't have LTE anymore. And that's how it's kind of going with Sprint right now. So you will not have LTE everywhere. They're rolling it out as quick as they can, but you do not have LTE everywhere with Sprint right now, unfortunately. So that is your answer at this time. All right. Tommaso Politi. Again, I always sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly. I'm going to buy the new Galaxy Pro 12.2. So am I. Is it possible to connect it to VGI? I'm guessing VGA in this case. I do not have an HDMI monitor. I will. So yeah. So no. As far as I know, there's no good way to connect it to VGA, a tablet at least, to HDMI. Again, you can actually just get this adapter that we talked about earlier. MHL 2.0. Samsung sells it on their website, although last I checked they were out of stock because it's quite popular for all their devices now. You can use that, or as you said, yes, you can use the all-share adapter, which lets you wirelessly connect it. For most purposes, the all-share adapter works fine. The only thing I don't recommend it for really is gaming. I feel that gaming, especially like a racing game or something like that, you need kind of perfect frame rate, and it won't do that with wirelessly. With HDMI direct, you're fine, you're perfect. There's no lag whatsoever really on it. I've done this with plenty of games now, especially since I got my gaming pad that I cannot put down. So that's the only thing I don't recommend it for. But other than that, if you're doing like a PowerPoint, if you're needed for anything else really, with the exception of gaming, the all-share adapter is perfect. It works great. I'm sure you can get it online now for like under $70, just because it's been out for a while, and you can definitely get it used on Amazon or something. So yeah, that would be the best way. For gaming though, you want a direct connection. All right, Mike Kellum Rust. Sorry, I'm again mispronouncing your name. Hey, I know you're the Android guy, but I was wondering if you could shed some light on something. I was giving a lot of thought to the tablet, running Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. I was considering the Surface 2. Would you recommend the Galaxy Tab over the Surface? And you saw my video on Live. So for those of you who don't know, on Live Desktop is an app that you can get for Android, and what it essentially does, it allows you to have Microsoft Office, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel on your device. It's a very old video. It's one of the videos I did in the very first year, I think. But it's called On Live Desktop, and allows you to do Word, PowerPoint, Excel, all on your Android tablets. I think it only came out for tablets. I don't think it ever came out for phones. But very useful, obviously. However, when it came to like using it on a normal basis, I didn't like it because you had to save it either on cloud-based storage, or you had to like use Internet Explorer within it to make it kind of send it to someone or send it to your own email through Gmail or something like that. I didn't think it was as practical. So yes, for the Surface 2, I think it would be a better version if you're a real Office user. However, to the last commenter's question, the Pro Series, the new Pro Series that's coming out, would definitely give the Surface 2 a run for its money. I actually debated on keeping my Surface 2. I found it very helpful. I have a 17-inch laptop that I hate taking around with me, and I was going to keep the Surface 2. However, at the end of the day, when I caught wind of all these rumors that Samsung might come out with a 12.2-inch tablet, and the idea of having like a keyboard case for it, which we now know, Logitech, Zag, and Belkin are all going to have keyboard covers for it. I was like, wait, let me wait and see how this turns out. And their new Office, Handcom Office, is identical to Microsoft Office. I mean, you have Word that you can, their version of Word for Android on this new tablet, you can do headers and footers, you can do watermarks. It's just very impressive. I was very, very impressed at CES by this, and I can't wait to get it. I'm getting it later this week and going to go crazy playing with it, of course. It's just really exciting, and I definitely can't wait for it. So definitely, for those of you just joining us, leave your questions in the comment section down below, and I will get to them as soon as I'm done with the emailed questions that were sent to me earlier this week. So leave your questions down below in the comment section, and I will get to them. So to finish your question again, I would wait for these new Pro Series. Take a look at my reviews about them, and I'm definitely going to go in-depth for this new Office. And I'm going to personally see if I can replace my 17-inch laptop with this on a day-to-day basis for PowerPoint, for word processing, and all that kind of stuff. I would really look forward to it, and I hope it does. Armpit Godson asked, Ricky, I'm not getting the over-the-air update for on my HTC One X Plus for Sense 5. Need help. Is the one HTC Plus getting the update? I don't remember if it was getting the update. The old way of forcing an update, which doesn't always work, so I will preface that with it doesn't always work, but it's you go into Settings on your phone. So you're going to go into Settings, and from here you're going to go into your Application Manager, and you're going to go to Google. I want to say Google Play Services, but I'm not positive if that's right. Let me just look at it. It's been a while since I did it. Oh, no. It's not Google. It is Google Service Framework. You go into this setting and you stop force and you clear the data. What that essentially does is it clears the ability for Google to kind of recognize that you hadn't gotten it. And it works sometimes. It doesn't work always, though. That is kind of the quick way to try to get it to work more quickly, let's say. All right. Is Semaj, I believe is how I pronounce his name. Is there a way to get where I can transfer my purchase apps from my iPhone to my Galaxy S4? It looks like he just bought a Galaxy S4 from AT&T. Not exactly. So here's the thing. With the Samsung Smart Switch app that I've done a video on, it allows you to transfer over everything from your iPhone. So your pictures, your music, your movies, all that kind of stuff, contacts, text messages, everything. Samsung Smart Switch transfers over anything. However, paid apps is something different, of course, because Samsung can't really force Google to take the hit for paid-for apps. You get it? It's Google is the one who has the store in this case. So Samsung can't do that. What you can do in this case is, if you don't want to pay for an app, this is how it goes down in Android, Samaj. How it goes down in Android is you can Google, a game. What's something that costs money? An emulator, or so. Say if I wanted to download Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, right? And if you didn't want to pay for it, which I support developers, but if you didn't want to pay for it, what you can do is type in Google Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and the letters A, P, and K. If you do this on Google, you'll find the downloaded file, and then you'll be able to download the app, and you didn't pay for it. You can technically do this for your apps. Again, I support developers because I feel that they're putting these games. That's how people on Android do it, though. So if you are looking to kind of get the most for your money or something like that, you can do it that way. But yes, that is how you can kind of do it without paying for them. Although again, Samsung can't force Google and be like, hey Google, give this person that just changed over to Android all these free apps. It just can't be done, unfortunately. All right. Again, if you're joining us, leave your questions in the comment section down below, and I'll get to it as soon as I'm done. Hi, I'm looking at rooting my Nokia HD Plus. I think you all, anyone that owns that would be. Will it be able to use in Spanish? So no. The standard Nook does come in English. It really depends on when you root it, which it was weird because you said you were looking at a prepaid rooting cards. I don't know what that is. Whenever I root, I use a ROM that you're rooting to. I'm not sure what a prepaid. I'm not sure if that's something different in another country or what is that, or if it's just like a prepaid ROM. I don't know. But essentially, the ROM will determine if it can be done in Spanish or not. If the ROM has a Spanish language part in it, then you can do it. If not, then you can't. It's just really that simple. If you have the ability to use a ROM that has Spanish language in it, then you'll be able to use the entire device in Spanish. Now, the keyboard can always be changed to Spanish. You can download a third-party keyboard, like SwiftKey is my favorite, and that keyboard can be put in Spanish, so their input can be in Spanish. However, the language of the OS is dependent on the ROM that you end up putting on there after rooting it. Okay, and the last question before we get to the comment section. Hey Android guy, I have a quick question. I was wondering if I get a portable hard drive and download my movies on them. Can I play? Yes. So he's wondering if basically if you get a portable hard drive, can you connect it to something like, of course, the Note 3, which is the one he has, or any device. Here's the thing: as long as the device has enough power going out, you can connect a hard drive to it. And the difference of that is say if you had for example, just because I remember this one didn't do it, an HTC One. HTC One does not have enough power going out in order to charge a portable hard drive. However, pretty much every Samsung since the Galaxy S3 has been able to, that I know of, as well as every Nexus device I've ever used should be able to do it as well. And also, I recently found out the Sony's ones can too. So it just depends on the device. For the Note 3, it can power an external hard drive. I believe a Nexus can as well, and so should a Sony device be able to as well. So those are the ones that you should be able to power using, of course, the micro USB to female USB, again, which I've done a video on. If you ever seen my how to connect a PS3 controller to Note 3, how to connect a PS3 controller to S4, any of those videos, including the Nexus devices, you will see that I used an adapter. That one I got off of Amazon, I think for like $15. So it was a Samsung one, but you can use it for any device. And micro USB to full USB. Beware though, the OTG cables, if you go too cheap, you might get one that doesn't work. I remember I got one for like $2, didn't work. Got one for $5, didn't work. Finally, I was like, look, I'm just gonna pay $15, and you know what? I had that since the S3, and I've kept it this entire time. So, and I've used it for every device you've ever seen on the show. I've used it for it, and it works great. All right, let's get to the comment section down below. Try to get through those quick, but again, there was a lot of questions, and I'm trying to get it to as many questions as I can, because I know a lot of you guys ask questions. So let's check out the comment section down below in order to see all of these apps. In order to answer all these questions. So, in your opinion, your opinion on all the Asus phones and tablets. On all the Asus phones and tablets, I was a huge fan of the Transformer series. Huge fan of the Transformer series. I thought Asus was genius for having a keyboard dock. I mean, it gave me like 18-hour battery life when I had that keyboard dock. It was insane, you know. It always came down to me between my first tablets was the Samsung and the Asus. I had gotten both because I was that addicted to Android when first got tablets, and I thought they both did a great job. I liked the Samsung for the look, feel, and kind of some support, and the Asus just was more functionality and more productive. However, with the exception of the phone pad, Asus hasn't kind of moved forward until this new one that just came out, which was the Asus Transformer, now called Trio. It was originally called Duet at CES, but now it's called the Trio. But man, is that priced high? I mean, 1,500 for a dual-booted tablet with Windows and Android. It's just it's priced too high. They've kind of priced themselves out. Other than that, though, I mean, the Asus Pad phone is something really interesting. I'm really hoping to get it when it comes to AT&T in the U.S., and I'm definitely interested in it. So I'm really excited to kind of see how it does, and yeah, I definitely want to kind of play around with it and use it. Can't wait, really. I'm very excited to use that one and see how it is, see how the Pad phone really works and everything like that. I'm hoping to get more products from Asus. Again, for those guys who don't know, I'm just going to tell you flat out. I contact these PR companies, and they either send me products or they don't. So like one I haven't gotten a hold of still is LG. I've tried contacting them a couple of times, still haven't got a hold of them, and I'm like, look, my viewers want me to review your Curve and your Pro 2 now, and they want me to review these devices, but until I do, I can't, obviously. So that's how it kind of goes in this era of everything like that. All right. What's up with the S5? I want to know, definitely. The Galaxy S5, I'm really curious, because there's a lot of rumors on it. There's rumors for the hardware. I think we kind of definitely 16 megapixel. I just think that's kind of a given by now out of all the stuff we've seen online and everything like that. It's 16 megapixel BSI. I think the S5 will have that. Besides that, I really don't know. What I'm honestly most curious about the S5 is how the hell it's going to look. Because there's so many rumors, going around that. Is it going to be a metal frame? Is it going to be a plastic one? Is it going to have the, the flux leather that is out there right now with the Note 3? What is it going to look like? That's what I'm really curious about. And I'm really curious if they're going to still have a hardware button. That's one rumor that's been going around too. Will the Galaxy S5 no longer have a hardware button? Very curious to see what that will be like. Definitely curious about it. And Apple needs to be more Android friendly. Actually, the funny thing about that, Apple needs to be more Android friendly. I think if you saw last week's episode, Samsung is just really getting, Samsung now has patents with Google, with what was the one that used to be with Sony? I forget what it's called. Sony Ericsson. Ericsson has deals with Ericsson now, and has deals with who's the last one? It was one other company. Linksys. No, yeah, Linksys. They have all these deals going on with all these companies, and man, they are definitely bringing that to court. You can better believe that now that they have all those patents, it's kind of like if you're messing with me, you're messing with them. So it's really kind of hopefully that Apple will kind of tone down this, because let's face it, Apple's really only going after Samsung now because they're outselling them. So that's why Apple's really trying to go for Samsung, I feel. And yeah, I do feel they need to be more Android friendly. But you know what? They didn't mess with Google as soon as Google bought out Motorola, because they couldn't mess with the patents anymore because Motorola owned the patents on the cell phone. So you really can't do that anymore. The APK is always outdated. I'm not sure if that was referring to when I said earlier. It could have been during that time frame. The APKs will be outdated. I mean, you kind of got to find it at the right place. Let me see if I what is a place that I usually go to when searching for APKs. Let's see. APKclassic.com. Try that one. It usually has pretty good up-to-date APKs, but that's what I would try for that purpose. All right. Would rooting a Note 2 erase app data or not, or does it depend on the method I use? Yes, it would erase app data when doing it, because to root, you want to let me just put it this way. If you're rooting a device, you want to erase the data because it'll cause more trouble than it's worth if you don't erase it. So here's the thing, though. With rooting, It's fine now because you download this app called, it was called Helium, but what the hell is it called now? It used to be called Helium. It was a backup app. What the heck is it called now? The name escapes me right now. I just can't remember what it's called. I will do a video on it, or I'll put it in the comment section myself later on after, and I'll tag you on it. But it's some kind of backup that it allows you to do. And what this backup will essentially do is it'll back up all of your game data. I had to do it when I did it for my girlfriend. She had this Stars, girl game that she was like, I can't lose my data on this game, or I'm not switching phones. And I'm like, oh my god, fine. So I basically, it was a backup app, and I can't remember what it was. It was something cloud. It was a cloud-based app. Essentially, it saves all of your memory onto the SD card, or you can save it onto your computer, and then plug it up and drag it back over, and you will have all your data. So for all your game data and all that kind of stuff, you'll be all fine. And any app that has data, you just select that app's data and you can save it. So that's how you do it. Again, I will figure out the app after. I just can't think of it right now. What app do you use? Anything for a phone that doesn't have an SD card, but I want to get my videos and pics out. Use the SD card for a new phone. Use the SD card. So you get sorry, Jody Jones. For if you want to get everything off your phone that doesn't have an SD card, and it is an Android one, there's actually memory card readers. One in particular that I have to do a video on it because it's a really cool one. And let me see if I can find it real quick. Sorry, have always, this is live, and when I think of things you should see, this is. So this is probably the tiniest memory card reader you will ever see. It's tiny, tiny. And I can't even think of the company. Do I have the company of it? No. No, I don't have it with me right now. But it's a tiny memory card reader. So the memory card's actually right here. So if you can see, I can actually take it out right there and put it in. And so this is a micro SD card reader, and you literally just put it back there, and that's it. What you can usually do, though, alternatively, is get a memory card reader for your phone. So again, just let me kind of get in my bag of tricks where I have everything. So you can get something like this. This is, a thing from Best Buy that I think costs like $5 or something like that, and you can get them cheaper even. Micro SD card reader. Put the micro SD card in here, and get a USB to micro USB, plug and play, and there you go. And basically from there you can take everything from your phone and take it over very easily. So that's how you would actually take everything off of your phone that doesn't have a micro SD card, and you can take all the data off of it. Another good alternative, of course, is simply to connect it to a computer. Drag everything over into a folder, and then drag everything onto the micro SD card. So that would be another thing, of course. I think the hardware button, I hope it's not screen. It takes away from the real estate of the screen, and I hate seeing it sitting there. I guess, oh, you like the hardware button. I like the hardware button too. I actually got really used to it, so I am a fan of the hardware button. I really do like it more so. But there's some people, I know a lot of my friends actually are hoping that it doesn't have a hardware button anymore. It just kind of depends on the user, but I think either way should be fine. What's your favorite phone company you use? I'm a Samsung fan. Well, so here's the thing. I've mostly used Samsung for a while now as a phone company, and so not as a tablet, because the tablets I've used a couple different ones. As a phone, though, I've mainly used Samsung because, you know what, they're the ones sending me stuff. LG, Sony, HTC send me phones so I can review it, and then I might become an LG fan, or a Sony fan, or an HTC fan. I would love to try out these different phones, but again, it's their PR companies, or sorry, not their PR companies, but the PR in these companies is very hard to get a hold of sometimes. They say they're going to send you stuff, and they don't, and I'm just like, okay, well, this company's still sending me stuff, so I'm going to only review this company. And how is that going to look? I mean, I'm just saying. So I always think it's a kind of a thing for that purpose. Next slide, do not support SD card, and my friend would lie to move it to the SD card. So The Nexus 5 will support SD cards, but you have to get an app. I think it's called the Nexus Media Importer app. I believe that's the exact name of it. I can actually do a quick search. It's an app you have to get in order to be able to, and I'm almost positive it's called Nexus. Yes. So it's by HomeSoft, and it's called Nexus Media Importer. Unfortunately, it is a paid-for app. It does cost $4, but it will allow your friend to be able to take everything when you connect a card reader to work with it. So there you would have it. So he can take everything off of his Nexus 5 and then move it over to his S4. All right, guys. It looks like that's the end of the questions we have, and I mean we've gone about 40 minutes now. So that will call it a show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We saw a lot more participation in the comment section down below, so I thank you guys for all of that. And thank you guys for liking this. Please give me a like, thumbs up. It really always helps me out. So make sure to like the video. And if you have any questions, email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com, and I will get to it. And yeah, I should be able to say it. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to do a Android Weekly next week, just letting you guys know. And the reason for that is because, at least not on Sunday. I'll tell you what, Android Weekly will happen next Monday. So not tomorrow, next Monday. And the reason for that is I have a little, romantic Valentine's Day thing going on for the weekend. So going into that. And yeah, so we'll see what happens and everything like that. So yes, but so Android Weekly will be moved one day off, and it's going to be to President's Day. And I had to kind of wait till the end, because I know if my girl watches my video, she won't watch the end. She never gets to that far, like you guys will. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, please ask at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com. Make sure you leave question, and then I will get to it next week. And remember, we'll move it to Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Thank you for watching. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.